Hi guys, Miss Beckett here. I'm here to talk about societal influences on a person's sexuality and their sexual journey. So there's many different influences on people's sexuality. Some of them are a person's culture. So this could be culture within ethnicity, religion. It can also be culture within like a sporting team or within a group of friends. So it's kind of based around the values that you have within that cultural group. Community is also important, so the people that as individuals around can impact the choices that they make. Okay, so how things are developing within that community is especially important. Politics or the laws hopefully have a big impact on people's sexual journey and what they kind of choose to do. There are set laws that we have within New Zealand, which we're going to go through a little bit and have a look on, which should be influencing decisions that people make about sexuality. Money is also another impact on sexuality as well. Media is another biggie that we're going to look at. So mainly looking at the influence of advertising. We're going to look at celebrity and role models and how they are viewed within the media as well. And then our last thing we're going to look at is the different school-based programs and how they can influence sexuality as well. So the first thing we're going to look at is about making safe choices, mainly to do with alcohol. Okay, so as you come into adolescence, the temptation to try alcohol and to use it quite often is becoming higher and higher. Especially as we get into secondary school, we want to start experimenting with different things and we want to go to different things with our friends and stuff. So there is a lot of pressure around having alcohol. One of the key things is to develop some tips or some things that work for you if you are ever in this situation. So some of the key things would be stick with your friends. If you're going out somewhere, make sure that you've got a good group of friends that you're around. If you are drinking, you need to make sure that you have a sober friend and you have a plan for what you're doing. Think about the consequences. Okay, so there's lots of different consequences, and these tend to heighten with the use of alcohol. Okay, so if we're in different situations, we need to think about what will actually happen to me if I go through with this. Being wasted is never hot. Okay, so whenever you see someone wasted, it isn't a good thing, and it should not be viewed as something that we aim for. Be prepared. So whatever situation you're in, you need to make sure you're prepared. If that means that you're being safe in terms of having contraception or thinking about the consequences, or even just having a ride home in that kind of situation is a great idea. Be responsible. So you are responsible for your own behaviours and they will kind of stay with you. Okay, so whatever happens to you or whatever you do, you're stuck with and you're responsible for. And our last thing, make sure that we have a plan and we set aside things on what we need to do. So we're going to look over some of the laws about sexuality. So if it's not clear, it's not consent. Okay, so consent laws are based around protecting people in vulnerable situations. Okay, so we have a few different ones that we cover in New Zealand. So our first one is that you have to be over the age of 16 to be able to have consensual sexual intercourse. Okay, so this means that both parties need to be over 16. Unfortunately, if it does come out that somebody is having intercourse with someone under the age of 16, that can be counted as statutory rape, and it can be you can be charged with that also. There's also laws around protecting people with special needs that don't have the ability to make the decision about having sex, okay, and if somebody's taking advantage of that. And the other consent law is based around someone being intoxicated or under the severe influence of drugs or alcohol and unable to make a clear decision. Also, we're going to look at sharing private images and videos. Okay, so that's another thing that is becoming happening more often. So these are being shared around and they're then being passed on to lots of different people. So you need to make sure that you are safe with that. If somebody does share your private image or videos, then you can report it and they can be told to take it off. It's legal to marry any gender in New Zealand, so you can have both same-sex marriage and you can have heterosexual marriage as well. So parenting under 18 is a completely different factors, has completely different factors unless you're over 18, you're prepared, you've got job security, you're in relationships. Okay, so it's important to think about that. You can also get support if you are parenting under the age of 18. If you are a father or a mother paying child support, your parents are responsible to pay that until you are 18, and then it becomes your responsibility. So there's lots of different laws around age to protect people. Also, there is no age that restricts anyone from being able to receive contraception. Okay, so this can come from different places. It can come from your GP, it can come from family planning. There is also no age restriction on whether you can have an abortion or not. Media influences to do with sex. Okay, so selling a product. At the moment, sex sells. Okay, so quite a lot of different companies use it to sell their product. Okay, and they try and make things look sexy and appealing to people, so they think, yep, I'm going to buy that. Role models. Okay, so this is where we get difficult. We have difficulty with identifying celebrities as role models. Okay, so some of the behaviours that celebrities portray and things that they do, especially to do with their sexuality and sex, don't always give off positive influences for people. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have role models that we're looking up to, but we're also making decisions based on what is best for ourselves. Things like reality TV programs, so like Love Island, where it talks about different relationships, and it talks about sexuality in kind of an open way. Whose reality is this really? I mean, it's a bunch of people on a show. We need to really think about who's being affected in different situations, and we need to have it relating to our own lives. The school sexuality education system. Okay, so some schools, especially special character schools, so like religious schools, they're only required to teach about abstinence. So abstinence is not saying no and abstaining from sex. Health teachers are constantly looking at ways to reinvent their sexual health programs to ensure that their students are prepared. It's also key to kind of make it more relate it more to them, so they can feel like it is actually kind of involved around their life or revolved around their life. Parent consent or awareness needs to be ensured for any successful program. So if somebody is doing a sexuality education program, it's important that parents are aware of the kind of things that you're covering. Social media and sexuality. Okay, so the pressure to conform and join social media is huge for teens. The trends are constantly changing, and there's lots of pressure to be in relationships. And you're even at a stage now where people have to display this on social media. Okay, body image is quite a hard one. It's always being referred to on social media and has a great effect on the mental and emotional well-being of teens. Okay, so people see something like a size 0 model on a Facebook site or something, and then they want to try be like that, or they're looking up to that person. Also, there's a lot of danger with social media and what's actually behind the screen, so things like catfish and stuff. Are you actually talking to that person? So this can be another influence on people's decisions that they make to do with their sexuality. Culture and sexuality. Okay, so this is where sexuality views and opinions come across. So people can be quite dominating with how they feel about different things, which can lead to some people being outed or not feel valued within their own sexuality. Sexual orientation is also something that is quite important and needs to be respected a lot more in our society. Your religion and values, they kind of give off a bit about how you should kind of behave, or what kind of behavior you should have to do with your sexuality. But it's also about understanding community and support systems as well. So there's lots of stuff out there that can give support to teens, especially as they're trying to think about the best options for them on their sexual journey. Okay, so there's lots of different support groups that we can use. So some of our organisations that can help out. So there's lots of in-school support. Okay, so you can go and see your guidance counsellor. You can go see school nurses in some schools. You can go and talk to anyone that you feel you're confident with and that you can get support from. There's lots of medical clinics, so you can go to your GPs, you can go to your family planning clinics. They will set you up and they will get you sorted in terms of things like, they'll help you out with things like contraception, they'll do STI checks, they'll even just talk to you about different things as well. And then there's lots of community support. So there's lots of different community organisations that are set up by the government and are run to ensure that the health of adolescents and even other people as they go through their sexual journey to feel supported and safe. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Make sure you check with your teacher about the follow-up task and get those completed.